Hey everyone, it's Sekaar, and today I wanted to go over my Nightblade build that I have been using lately for the Gold Road chapter. I love this build. I know I say this on a lot of builds, but it's got amazing damage. I mean, it's Nightblade, so it's pretty easy to get damage, but the damage on this feels better than normal, which is really cool. The sustain is amazing on this. The tankiness is really good as well. So I just kind of wanted to share this with you guys. So real quick, before we get started, if you guys like to watch me play other games as well, I've been posting on my variety channel pretty regularly, so if you guys want to go and make sure you're subscribed to that. I've been playing a bunch of other games besides ESO on there. Show me some love. The link to that will be in the description. I'd appreciate you guys going over and subscribing to that. That would mean the world to me. So without further ado, let's get on with the build. We're going to be a Khajiit under Nightblade. I haven't been anything but a Khajiit on my Nightblade in at least a year or two at this point. Khajiit, in my opinion, is just best in slot for Nightblade. I really wouldn't suggest going any other race at this point. Khajiit is just without a doubt the best for this. We're also going to be using 37 points into magic, 14 points into health, and 13 points into stamina for our attributes to give us a max magic pool of 23.5k, a max health pool of 31.5k, and a max stam pool of 20.2k. And then also, we're using the Warrior as our Mundus because overall, I just wanted to get my weapon and spell damage up as high as possible. And in my opinion, that's just, well, weapon damage, not weapon and spell damage. And in my opinion, that's just the best way to get your overall damage and healing up as high as possible. Yeah, Shadow Mundus is really nice and it does work, but I just like using Warrior to get our weapon damage higher. And then let's go on to our... Oh, wait, also Vampire Stage 3. Vampire Stage 3 is very important for now. That might change in the future, looking at some of the patch notes that Zos has done for next patch. So for now, we're still using Vampire Stage 3. Looking at our gear, we're going to be using Balorg as our monster set. We're going to be using a heavy reinforced helmet and a heavy impen shoulder. Balorg is going to give you a line of weapon and spell damage. Then when you use an ultimate ability, you're going to gain weapon and spell damage equal to the total amount of total ultimate consumed. And physical and spell penetration equal to 23 times that amount for 12 seconds as well. So I say this every time I use Balorg. Say you use 200 ultimate. You're going to gain 200 weapon and spell damage for 12 seconds, and you're going to get 200 times 23, whatever that turns out to be. I'm no math magician, guys. So it's a lot of extra damage for the next 12 seconds, and it really makes it so that you hit hard for your ultimate, and your next few abilities as well are going to hit very hard as well. Our chest piece is going to be a heavy reinforced chest piece of the trainee. That's basically just going to get your max health up as high as possible. Our front bar set, we're going to be starting with our hands. It's going to be our Essence Thief. So we're going to be using medium impen Essence Thief. This is going to give you 2 lines of max stam, weapon and spell damage. And then dealing damage with a light or heavy attack is going to draw an essence from the enemy that pools near them for 5 seconds. Drawing the pool heals you. It's going to heal you for 5,500 health. And it's also going to restore 4,300 stamina to you. And also on top of that, it's going to increase your damage done by 10% for 10 seconds. And that's a 10-second cooldown on that. This is absolutely massive for your overall sustain, for your overall just damage as well. That 10%, do not sleep on that, because we're going to be adding up a lot of different things towards the end of this build, and I'm going to be talking about that. This is the place where we're starting with this 10% off of your Essence Thief. That is massive. I'll come back to that later, I promise. But trust me, this has been my favorite set lately, and it's for a good reason. It's good for both sustain and damage. And then our back bar set, we're going to be using Rallying Cry. It's going to be Light Divines for our waist piece. So this is going to give you a line of crit chance, max magic, another line of crit chance, and while Battle Spirit is active, critically healing yourself or an ally is going to cause you to gain up to 300 weapon and spell damage, and then 1650 crit resist for 20 seconds. And then that's going to reduce for the more amount of people that you have in your group. So that's great for your overall damage. 300 free weapon and spell damage just for critically healing yourself for 20 seconds. That's massive. And then on top of that, that crit resist, that makes you really tanky against incoming critical damage. It is definitely worth it. Rallying Cry, in my opinion, is one of the best sets in Cyrodiil right now, and it's for a good reason. This thing is amazing. And then also moving on, we're going to be using medium impen legs of Essence Thief as well. And then medium impen feet for Essence Thief as well. For both of our rings, we're going to be using Rallying Cry. Both are going to be infused with weapon spell damage enchantments on it. And then for our necklace, we are going to be using my current favorite mythic in the game, Satan the Seducer. It's going to be infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. So, Satan the Seducer. If you guys don't know at this point, please look into this mythic and look into grinding this. This mythic is incredibly easy to grind out. Most people I know have gotten this in under an hour. So please, I do not want to hear any excuses. Hey, I don't have this. Please, guys, it takes under an hour to get this. It is so easy to do, and I just can't recommend this enough. So, while in combat, you're going to gain one of 5 random major buffs, which changes every 10 seconds. Enemies within 12 meters of you are going to gain one of 5 random minor debuffs, depending on which buff you have active. So, basically what that means is when you have Major Berserk, your enemies could have Minor Maim. You could also have Major Resolve, and your enemies will have Minor Breach. Major Force, Minor Brittle, Major Evasion, Minor Vulnerability, Major Courage, Minor Cowardice. This is absolutely massive because it's buffing you so much and is also debuffing your enemy. So just think about this. Say you get either Major Berserk, Major Force, or Major Courage, right? Those are all incredible sources of damage. And on top of that, your enemies are going to have minor debuffs on them as well. And if you think about it, the Essence Thief is going to be an extra 10% damage as well. So you're stacking Major Berserk, you're stacking Major Force, you're stacking Major Courage. You are hitting like an absolute truck. And you're on a Nightblade, which is the easiest class for damage in the game. You're just stacking damage and you're just deleting people's health bars. So, moving on, our front bar weapons are going to be Maces of the Essence Thief. Our main hand is going to be Nirnhund with a poison damage enchantment on it, and our offhand is going to be Sharpened with a disease enchantment on it. We're just stacking status effects on your enemies at that point. And then also back bar is going to be a Rallying Cry Ice Staff in defending with an increased weapon spell damage enchantment on it. So let's do our champion points next. Our blue selectables are going to be Fighting Finesse, Untamed Aggression, Master at Arms, and Deadly Aim. Guys, I'm still doing the 100% offensive CP train, but I'm gonna be honest, with next patch's Undeath nerf, I might have to get off the train. I truly apologize. I'll let you guys know in the future, but for now, we're still on the quad damage CP train. I promise you guys, we're going strong. Red selectables are Survival Instincts, Relentlessness, Celerity, and Pain's Refuge. And then our green tree, what we really care about, are Breakfall, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. And so let's look at our skills next. Where am I? Let's look at our skills next. Our main spammable is going to be Concealed Weapon. This ability is super strong as a spammable, and on top of that, you get a lot of different abilities in one. So one, it's going to be doing 9,200 magic damage, which is insane because I'm not even buffed up yet. I don't have Satan the Seducer up yet. I don't have my Major Brutality up yet. Like, I don't have anything up. So having that as a tooltip right away, that's strong. That's really strong. And then also, if you strike an enemy from their flank, you're going to set them off balance. Also, when you leave Sneak or Invisibility while in combat, increases the damage done with this ability by 10% for 15 seconds. So just think about that as well. That's an extra 10% on that as well. And you're also getting 10% from like Essence Thief. And if you have like Major Berserk or Major Force from Satan the Seducer, dude, all I'm saying, this class is so strong, and it's for a good reason. Please, if you're ever wondering, hey, what class should I play if I want PvP on easy mode, this or Magswork, easy. Also, while slotted on either bar, you're going to get Minor Expedition at all times, increase your movement speed by 15%, so you're really fast as well. And then also we've got Shadowy Disguise. Basically, you become invisible on this skill. Also, your next direct damage attack used within 3 seconds will always be a critical strike. So if you can slot this before you hit a solid like in-cap or something, you're going to be hitting hard. Also, while slotted on either bar, you're going to get Major Prophecy and Savagery, increasing your spell and weapon critical by 2,600. So gives you a lot of crit chance as well. And then also we've got Power Extraction, so this is going to be a nice little AoE for you to hit on your enemies when they're like spamming roll dodge, but most importantly, this is going to be your source of Major Brutality and Sorcery, and your source of Minor Courage, so this is going to increase your weapon spell damage by 20%, and on top of that, it's going to increase your weapon spell damage by 215 as well. So it gets your weapon spell damage really high. Then I've been using Leeching Strikes a lot, which is one of the strongest abilities on this whole build. Please do not sleep on this ability at all. This basically is infinite sustain in a certain ability. So channel a portion of your soul, converting your health to 2000 magic and stamina. While slotted on either bar, your soul yearns for the warmth of life. All damage you deal heals you for 2300 health and reduces the cost of your next leeching strikes by 10%, stacking up to 10 times. So basically, after you get those 10 stacks, it's a free one. But honestly, if you just stand in a few of your AoE heals, you basically get this and it doesn't really do any damage to you. So this is just a great source of sustain, and you could spam this on yourself if you just make sure to preemptively buff your heals. It is so good, and the sustain on this is insane. Also, we've got Merciless Resolve. This is going to be your burst damage on this build. After 5 light or heavy attacks, you get to fire off a Merciless Resolve. That is a 17.2k tooltip, and that's before our Major Resolve. That's before our Minor Courage. That's before our 10% on Essence Thief. That's before anything on Satan the Seducer. So yes, guys, this is a very balanced ability that hits for, 15, 20k regularly. It's very balanced, guys. Definitely don't use this. This is... this ability needs nerfing. I don't know what they're doing with this. Anyways, incapacitating strike as well. If you combo incap into Merciless Resolve, oh yeah, and that's not counting the extra Balorg damage you do after you incap as well. So yeah, it's really strong. Anyways, we're also having incap on here, which is going to be our main ultimate. This is a pretty cheap one, and also if you combo this with Merciless Resolve, hit him with the stunned incap with that 130 cost. Into this, if anybody doesn't dodge that, they're most likely going to be deceased. And then back bar, we're going to be doing Phantasmal Escape. This is going to be your source of major evasion, so it's going to reduce your damage taken from AoEs by 20%. Also, activating this ability is going to remove all snares and immobilizations to you and grant you immunity to them for 4 seconds, so it helps you get out of those sticky situations. Also, while active, taking direct damage is going to reduce the cost of your next roll dodge by 10%, up to a maximum of 100%, and that can stack every 1/2 second. So if you're just in a fight for a little bit, and if you just take a little bit of damage while you have Phantasmal Escape up, you basically get a free roll dodge. It's pretty nice. Also, we have Refreshing Path. Basically, this is going to put a little AoE around you, like in a little path, and while standing inside of it, you're also going to get Major Expedition, Minor Endurance, and Minor Intellect. So it's going to increase your movement speed by 30%, and it's going to increase your stam and magic recovery by 15%. And then also that persists for 4 seconds after you leave your path as well. So it's really nice for your overall sustain. So make sure you remember to use that at all times. Also, it heals you for about 1500 health while you're standing inside of it as well. So if you stack Refreshing Path with Resolving Vigor, which is your next ability, which is a 5-second heal over time, that also grants you Minor Resolve, so that will increase your physical and spell resistance by 3k. If you use both of these together, and then you hit Leeching Strikes, you're basically not going to be losing much health, and it's a great way to just keep your sustain up. And then also you have Healthy Offering, which is going to be your burst heal. So when you want to get right back up to full health, you hit Healthy Offering, boom, that helps you. Make sure you also combo your other heals, and you are staying alive really nicely, because that's also going to give you Minor Mending for 10 seconds. So it's going to increase your healing done by 8%. And then also you have Ellie Susceptibility. This is going to be your source of Major Breach on your enemies, so it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by 6k. And then also, every 7.5 seconds, the enemy is going to be afflicted with the Burning, Chilled, and Concussion status effects. So not only are you applying Major Breach to them, but you're just stacking status effects on them. This is a great source of extra sustained, extra sustained pressure on your enemies. And then also, finally, we have Temporal Guard on the back bar. Really, the only reason why we have this is for the Minor Protection. That's going to reduce your damage taken by 5%, so it makes you a little bit tankier. And then, that's really the entire build. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit that like button, comment. You know what, guys? If you're at this point in the video, comment what is your favorite class to play in Cyrodiil. I'm always curious to see your guys' responses. Personally, I really like Stamsorg a lot, and I really like Magwarden. Those are my 2 favorites, but I like to play Nightblade every now and then too. So I want to know what your guys' favorite classes to play are. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for staying to the end of the build. Let's get on with the footage for this build, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.